Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Uh-huh. So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
First world, come in and take a seat. Pay us no attention, it's all conspiracy. We have satire and parody, some funny, some perverse. If none of it's offensive to you, you'd be the first.
Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for coming to the Creative Cranium. I'd like to welcome my guests, Rick Duree. How you doing, Rick?
Hey, Timothy.
Good to see you, buddy. Next we have Corissa Grant.
Hey.
Hi, Corissa. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, always. Always glad to see you.
And Jay Rosario.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Carissa, good to see you again. Timothy,
yeah.
good to see you again. Rick, nice to meet you. Now that we're Facebook friends, I'm still not going to lend you $20.
Oh, I was hoping.
Great to see you guys tonight, and I can't wait to talk to you. We're going to talk a little bit about the creative process of our projects, and we all have a little bit of experience, right, with some degree of self-publishing. So we'll just go around in a circle. I'm going to start with Rick. What I'd like to know is, what is your step one? What I mean by a step one, some people start with a character sketch, some people start with a script. When you're at the very beginning of the project, what is your step one?
Dreams. Like, my first step is, how does it come to my mind? And if it's like inspirational, if it hits me really hard and I have to tell everybody and it's really exciting, I throw it down in bullet point, and I just go bullet point after bullet point until I get all of my, I don't know, digestion out of my brain.
When you say bullet point, is it like, do you keep like a written document, or is this like a Google Doc? What do you use?
Oh yeah, I keep lists for everything. My wife hates it. Yeah, you definitely keep the notes for sure, because you're gonna forget it. It's gonna go out of your head. You're gonna forget. So, my creative process is always more info, and then later I'll juggle it around. This goes first, this goes last, but I gotta just get it out of my head first.
Sure. Makes sense. Corissa, how about you? When you have the idea, the very beginning of the idea, do you go to a sketch first? Do you go to a script first? What is your step one?
You're not going to like my answer.
Sure, I will. Let's hear it. I'm up for different answers.
No, I literally sit down and write. I have no process whatsoever. I've been working on the same characters for over 3 years, and I like today I sat down to do a chapter, and I don't even think ahead. I sit down, I write it, I send it to my co-writer, and she writes her chapter back, and then I'm not as creative as you guys. It's like,
well, I'd say that's pretty creative. So you start by writing it out on a script.
I write it novel form, like everything.
Okay,
I write,
gotcha.
It's always novel.
Gotcha.
Because first wrote the 11 novels before I even started the comics. So right now we're working on the last book of the spinoff, not the last book in this series. And I write the ending first, and then she replies to it. But the characters have been in my head so long, I don't even think ahead. Like I even said to her when she wrote me her chapter, I said, I have no idea what I'm writing, but I'll just sit down and write. And I sat down, I wrote 2,000 words in an hour.
Carissa, that's really interesting to me. And remember, there's really no wrong answers. Like, we really want to learn how you do it. And if that's your way, man, then my hat's off to you. Everybody's got their way, right?
When you're doing script in your novel, are you using like high verbiage and then later the comic writing dumbs it down a little bit, or like what's your verbiage you use?
I'm always dumbed down. I write the novel form. I don't even edit it. The best. Then I go back and I write it as script. But because the way I write it, like you guys probably have, well, you guys don't do novel form, but most novel form people have the right words that you're supposed to use, the show don't tell. And I don't have that. I tried for 1 week to do the whole show don't tell and it exhausted my brain. So it actually worked out perfect because I will write exactly what happens, what she says, what she's thinking. And then when it comes to the comic book script, I already wrote what happens and what everything looks like. So I really just organize it and that's about it. So yeah, that's the whole story. I write it and then I make it look like a script later.
Well, that's a good one. Jay, how about you? When you have your and say if it's a book or whatever the project is, what's the
I'm a little bit of what everybody's saying here, but when I got to force myself, it's this, right? Not the computer, not the laptop, not the phone. It's, whether you're a writer or an artist, right? We all start at the same piece of paper, right? With pen or pencil, whatever it is. And I build from my outline, right? I put down like my bullet points, like you guys are talking about, and then I expand. And then when I get stuck, I move on to the other outline that I have and expand on that. And then when I get stuck on there, I cycle through it throughout the course of the day. I got my earphones plugged in, and it's Siri, take a note, and I try to chop in whatever I got. When I'm in the car with the wife, she has to roll down the windows because the gears are just like putting so much smoke into the car.
Right.
Yeah, there have been times like Rick, I'll wake up in the middle of the night from a dream and I'll go right into notes and I'll speak whatever gibberish is coming out of my mouth.
Right.
I'll look at it the next day. I'm like, what the freak did I just put down there? But then, I give it a moment. I let it germinate, and I'm like, oh, okay. I can pull this snippet. I can pull this snippet. I don't know what this was, but this sounds really cool. Let me put this in a box for later on. I wish I can say I was a writer. Dumbing it down is a step up for me. People go to school, train. I'm just somebody who's like, oh, I got a cool idea. How do I expand on it? How do I make it logical first? And then how do I make it entertaining? And then am I covering the bases, right? Am I, as I'm expanding upon it, am I hitting the 3 acts? Am I hitting the 3 acts in the micro? Am I hitting the 3 acts in the macro, right? For the arc.
Yeah. Sure. Let's break that question down a little bit. That's a pretty good one. I will say that just to add mine quick, I do mine the old-fashioned way. I start with the last scene, emotional scene, and then I write it backwards to how it got there, which is a short story writing. As maybe I told you, I wrote short stories for many years and never got anywhere with it. But switch them over to comics and people seem to dig them, so that's what they are. But in tying in with what Jay said, let's go to Rick next. If you're making your series, because you have a multi-part series going on, right? So how do you break up the issues? How do you break up the story?
So no one's going to be happy with my answer, but I'm kind of in the same place as Jay. When you're dreaming, it comes to you 3 out of 4 times. It's great, but 25% of the time it's just awful. I can't remember what I was writing, but I take these ideas and I plug them into my big black book of my idea nation, and then I pull from it when it inspires me. Sometimes my son mentions this new historical figure that no one's ever heard of, Hydernus the Younger, for instance, back with in the leader of the Immortals for the Persian Empire, and I didn't know about this guy, and then we wrote a story about him. Well, that story comes in comic book number 19. So I've written 22 comics, but they're all in different orders because they all have their own little arcs. So I might do an arc of 3 comics here and then stop that and go to one that's 6 comics in the future. It's just jumping around. No one wants to hear that. The listener wants to hear we wrote A plus B equals C, but the reality is that's not how comics are written.
Well, and I think we got a good representation here in this group of, the various levels of publishing too. So Corissa, how about you? So you have multi-part stories, and how do you break them up is how I'm going to ask your question.
Okay. So I have two things. So what Rick said about going out of order, we actually did, right? When we wrote the 10 novels, we just skipped around. Like we'd have a dream or we'd get an idea and we got so excited about the idea, we'd skip to it and write it out. And then the fun part is like connecting the two of them. But now that I have the 5 novels written for the series 1, like I just started scripts, converting scripts for book 2, and it only takes me like a day or two to do them. So I think 2 days ago I did chapter 4. So I went through book 1 to figure out where I wanted to stop each one. It's about 10,000 to 12,000 words. I generally there's so many cliffhangers in mine, I could pretty much stop anywhere, but I kind of go for like an emotional scene or something. So I kind of
tell you what, we'll expand on that one too. Remember about the cliffhangers.
Yeah.
So
but like you said before, I did write the ending. So we're on book 5 of the spinoff, and I actually wrote the ending first and the epilogue, and now I went back to write the beginning of it so that we could fill in the middle part. So
really? Yeah, I write out of order.
Yeah. So we write the ending's the hardest part, right? Isn't that what they say?
Yeah, that's what I think too. Yeah, it's usually where people will say it was a good story or not.
Yeah,
I think the point is you have to write when the inspiration is there. I will tell you, I'm probably not creative. I'll just say that. I never thought I was a creative person. I never did well on those ADVAB tests for creativity. But when it strikes you, no matter who you are, you're going to get it 1 out of 10 times. You're going to get some creative spark. And when it strikes you, then write it down. Jump on it and maybe get a collaborator. Like Chris said, she has a co-writer.
It's the best.
And Rick, man, by the way, you did it, bro. You published your independent book. It's the historical saga, The Immortal Bloodline, right?
Orphan Bloodline.
Orphan Bloodline, yeah. It's a great book, man.
It's immortal. It's never going away.
Yeah. Jay, how about you? When you go to your, because now you got multiple books across multiple arcs through Unstoppable, That's Unstoppable Comics, right?
Unstoppable Comics, not because I'm some great. Oh, that's not mine. That was in the reading pile. Not because I'm some great big engine of destruction, but because I'm the little train. I think I can. Right? I'm constantly. I'm constantly pushing, and I've hit.
Are the titles all connected?
Yes. So the superhero stuff is part of a shared universe. Everything's spun out of the team book. We've got a small anthology focusing on some of the characters that had a few panels that people liked, so we expanded a bit on them, and then 2 of the characters spun off into their own little miniseries. So when I write for the macros, I weave in certain background elements, right? So the B and the C stories are loosely connected. I've got a horror book and we've got a supernatural book that it is within the greater shared universe, but it really doesn't tap into.
How many titles in you guys lineup?
I just launched my 8th title right now.
Nice.
Yeah. So
congratulations, brother.
Oh, dude, it's not easy, right? Yeah. It came with a lot of stubbornness.
How long did you get that far? That's a lot to write. How long?
Yeah, right.
So I started Unstoppable Comics officially in 2008. Prior to that, I was doing ash cans, fanzines, stuff like that. So the 8 to 10 page little ash cans that.
Hey, and so we're both doing like anthology material, right? So do you write all these?
The 8th one, the one that I got the campaign going on for right now, Limbo. Right. No, I am that's the first book that I'm publishing for other people.
Right.
So it's a team of freelancers.
Okay, we're gonna ask about that question too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I got that's the first team. But man, am I spinning a ton of plates right now, dude?
Yeah, you got a bunch of titles.
Yeah.
So let me ask you. So you probably have multiple teams on different titles. How many teams are going at one time?
Right now, I got 2 teams running. That's all I can afford right now without getting the lights shut off. Right?
Yeah. That's what I do too. I try to do 3, and man, I'm just hanging on at 3 barely.
It's tight.
I bet people are gonna. I have a question on this. People might worry about this. What's it cost to produce? I mean, on average, you've done so many books. If you include not the writing, but you include the art, color, the lettering, the editing, maybe not include the printing because that can vary, but the actual production, what's your cost, you think, on average?
Anywhere between $4,000 to $5,000, depending on
$5,000
whether I'm going black and white, how many colors, how many covers we're putting into it, and then how many pages. Like the majority of them are 24-page stories, right? That was our average Marvel or DC comic without the ads, right? But some of them, it's my book, right? So if I want to,
you're doing Kickstarters you do Kickstarters for the 24-page floppies.
Yes, that's how I recoup my expenses.
I do that too. What is your what's your price point on your entry level printed book? It's a 24-pager.
So they're all right now at $5.
Wow, that's a deal, man. That's a deal.
Yeah. And then but the lowest tier on a Kickstarter would be a $5, the digital, but we do a $10 fully baked package, which includes the hard mailer, the bag and the board, the shipping price, and the price of the book. So
that's going now, right? That's going.
Yeah, that's what's going on. Yeah,
that's Limbo.
The last 3 or 4, we've been doing it like that.
Yeah. Hey, and are you guys? You can put your links, of course, in the comments. Yeah. So I didn't have anything prepared ahead of time for you guys' graphics. I'm just going to ask you the questions. But let's go back to something that Corissa brought up, which is cliffhangers. Okay, I'm trying something right now that's kind of new to me, and I'll tell you why. Before, I had always written, like I say, I'm wired like a short story writer. So any of my books, you read the book, it's at least one story. Maybe there's 2 in there. That's why ours are a little bit oversized. We call it giant size. They tend to be 40-page books. Even the new ones are 32-pagers. So they're what you'd call slightly oversized, I guess. But the new one is not a complete story. It's an arc of 4, like if you had like the arc of The Walking Dead or something. And issue 1 ends on a cliffhanger. So that's something new to me. My question for Rick is this. Actually, I know the answer for Rick, but I'm going to ask him anyway. Do you use cliffhangers in your book? And what is your goal with using the cliffhangers?
Before I get to the cliffhanger, I'm going to leave that as a cliffhanger and come back to it. I can attest to Timothy's massive size comics, because when I first got into this, being more serious about comic creation, he was the first guy I found. This is the first podcast I've done with you, Timothy. I'm glad you invited me on.
Yeah, welcome, Rick.
You're doing really great.
Sure,
but the reality is I came to you first because I saw your work. It was beautiful. You can see behind you there, your art's just amazing. And you inspire people. Your work inspires.
Thanks, man. Yeah. Got to find some customers. We're all in that part together.
Well, at $5,000 or $6,000 a pop, it's cheap, right? It's
right. Well, and what was your Rick? What was your price point on your printed floppy?
To print them?
Well, like, what was if you go to your Kickstarter, what's your lowest price printed book?
Yeah. So I sell the printed at $8 plus shipping.
Yeah, that's not bad either. That's what I did on my last one.
But see, my shipping is only $5. I don't charge any more than that. Some people do 8 and 8. I've seen that a lot. Or 10 and 10.
I'm at 7. I'm at 7 this time.
Yeah. So I do print at 8 and then $5 for shipping. So it ends up being $13. I think if you can get the comics delivered for under 15, and people are in Kickstarter to support the creators and to have indie stories, and we're not trying to compete with the $3 throwaways that you get or whatever.
Right, you're investing in the future of a company that's probably a publisher. Like, so all the other question, all 4 of us in here, we're all small publishers now, right?
100%.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that question too. Rick, thanks for saying your kind words, but I got to remind you, you did it, buddy. You did it. A lot of people say they're going to make projects and say they're going to publish their book, and they end up never doing it. And you cross the finish line. Welcome aboard, man.
It's just a start,
for better or worse, you're an author now.
The thing is when you get going here and you have a couple books done, I have issue 1. Well, I call it issue. I call them chapters, but whatever. 1 and 2 are done. The source book, which will always get bigger, is something like 56 pages. And
let me ask you, how many pages? So, because yours is multiple, what is it, 12 issues? How many is it going to be in your arc?
The first arc is 6, next is 5, but they kind of go together. So volume 1, volume 2 will be 11. It'll be like one of those big omnibuses that you get.
Yeah. I got my eye on that next. Corissa, same question for you. I know you're a multi-part person. So your books, what do you think? End on cliffhangers? Tell us about how you use it.
All my books end on cliffhangers. Hell, half the pages end in cliffhangers. But yeah, I think my first one ended with her getting tackled by the zombie merman in the water. The second one ended with them stuck in the fire on a balcony with no way out. So
Are these they're like big splash pages, right?
Yeah,
I saw some of the art for your book. It looks terrific.
Thanks. Yeah, Jonas is awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's just the way, I don't know. I like cliffhangers because, I mean, that's what I grew up with. You know, at the end of a season or something, at the end of an episode, something happens, and you're like, when's the next episode?
Right.
You know, and it makes the person pumped up for the next one.
Sure.
So
that's the hope. That's the hope, right?
That's the hope. Yeah. Well, I've had good feedback. I had a couple of my clients write me and be like, I read it 7 times. When is the next one coming out? And I was like, well, funny story.
Good job.
Yeah, so the cliffhangers are pretty good. I had one guy tell me that he used to do cliffhangers, and then he says it works better when you show one after. And I was like, I don't know. I like the cliffhanger. I like the what's gonna happen next thing and the anticipation of how they get out of it and all that. I try not to end on, you know, like a fake out or something.
Right.
But yeah, I love my cliffhanger, so that's not going to change. My client, my fans are going to hate me because everything ends in a cliffhanger, and even the end of series 1. I mean, it ends happy if you don't read the epilogue. So I'm going to put a big warning, like, do not read further if you want a happy ending.
Right.
So,
Jay, how about you? So you got multiple books, right? At any given time, there's multiple books going on. What's your secret for the ending? Hey, there's Laurie.
Hey, Laurie.
I just wanted to pop in and say hello to everybody because I love you all.
All right, stick around for a minute. We got
party.
a question for you too. What we're doing, we're learning about whether or not we're going to use cliffhangers in the books. And I'm going to talk to Jay real quick, but stay right there. I'm going to ask you this question too. So Jay, you got 8 titles are going, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and they break up into chapters. Are the chapters cliffhangers?
They're 8 miniseries. They're 8 miniseries.
Right.
So we'll come back to it. We're going to revisit some of the miniseries that we shut down. But yes, they all have cliffhangers in between each chapter or in between each issue. But like Corissa, you know, the end of the arc does have an epilogue that sets up the next one. You got to have that little bit of tease,
right.
You know?
Well, and that's what we're hoping, right? Is that will be the hook that grabs the next customer. So Laurie, how about you? We talked about Path of the Pale Rider.
Laurie.
The book looks great.
Hi, Corissa.
Thanks for coming on. You know, we'll give you a shout out to your Kickstarter that's going on, and we're trying to give everybody a little bit of a boost if we can. So my question to you is this. So we are talking about, should each issue be a self-contained story, or what are your thoughts on having it be a cliffhanger? So what did you do in your book? Is it a cliffhanger? And if it is, like, how many until it's all resolved? How many issues?
So many cliffhangers and twists. I kind of love to have this, like, hit him with go out with a bang in every issue, and then leaves people with like, oh, what the hell's gonna happen after that? Like, you'll get used to that. Please don't get attached to any characters. They all get killed.
Did you your arc that it goes, does it go across 5 issues, 6 issues? How long would it take for you to tell the first storyline for the Path of the Pale Rider?
13 issues.
13. Oh, that's cool. It ends on 13 too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How many pages we talking?
24 in the first few. That could change in the future, just depending on the issue. Some of them might need a few more pages. Depending on the complexity. But we're about 24 out there.
Okay. Yeah, my guess is mine are going to be around 5 to 6 issues each. That's right around where I'm hovering. It seems to be the sweet price point, and that's in that case, that's about a $24 book. That's with a chrome logo. That's what I would sell those for. That's 100. By the way, that's 106 pages.
Mine's 236, the first book.
Wow. Okay,
nice.
So you got a thick book. That thing's going to have a little heft on your.
I don't know for that one.
Yeah, it'll be out Halloween.
So let's try this one. Rick, are you ready? So my question for you is this. There's a lot of different things we could all be doing, right? We're super creative personalities. Most of us have at least one or multiple gigs going at any given time. My question for you is this one. Why comics? Out of all the things that you could be doing, why comics?
Well, you have to do what your heart tells you to do. I'm not being silly here. If you have a vision, an entrepreneur, to be Cardinals player, I mean, come on, they're playing today for the game national home opener. Whatever your passion is, you need to go and do it. And sometimes your passion is telling stories. My dad was a storyteller. I'm a storyteller, and that's what it is. do what your heart tells you. And when I was playing D&D with my buddies, maybe.
Oh, you're a D&D player too. Nice.
Everybody is. You know, we all.
Yeah, sure. Righteous.
I mean, back in the day when Zelda was being played, that was D&D in the video form. No one really.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, so I was playing with my buddies, and I created this character for him, and I didn't know what I was doing. This was 2008, and then I used the character in my head last May to create the main character of the comic because it just came at me out of the left field. So when you're creative and it hits you, then you do it. And I felt driven this last full year to just donate my time to really hard hit storytelling.
Cool. Good answer. Good answer. Corissa, how about you? You can write novels. You got all these other spinning plates, right? Why comics? Why did you choose that?
So what got me into writing was a stupid reason. But as when I wrote the novels, I'm not a very good writer. I'm an excellent. Shut up, Laurie. You don't know nothing. I am an excellent.
We're gonna fight after the show.
I am an.
Hey, you're doing something right. You're doing something right, Corissa. Hey, you got successful Kickstarters, man. You got books coming out left and right. We should be taking notes from you.
Yeah, I am an excellent storyteller. I can tell. I mean, I have a co-writer, but I'm the one that leads the story, and I couldn't have done it without her because she inspires me to keep writing. But I started this whole disaster of a story, and I can tell a really, really good story. But being dyslexic and lazy, I do not write like a novelist or. Yeah.
No way she's lazy. She's booked 33 shows this month to promote.
And what issue are you on? 4, 5, 6, 7, 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, right? You know, we want to make sure that we try to keep some of these great projects in the limelight because there's a limited window, especially if it's for something like a Kickstarter, where we're just trying to keep eyes on it during that period.
Well, I discovered that I suck at Comic-Con, so I'm going to rely on my podcasts.
Why would you say that? Why would you strike me as very engaging? Why would you say that you suck at Comic-Con?
Well, it was. When they could hear me, it worked out fine. But the Comic-Con was so busy and so loud. Every time I try to talk to somebody, just no one could even hear
you know
me.
What? I'm gonna bet. I bet that you did great, and you might be too critical of yourself.
Well, the ones I did sell, I will say, messaged me after and said it was awesome. So that
yeah. Hey, and it's like you and I were in the other group, Chris. I forget where it was right now, but we were saying something to the effect of, "Look, if you just got one, that's one more than zero."
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know,
definitely. Oh yeah. I'm going one reader at a time.
Yeah. Jay, how about you?
Like that.
Yeah.
Let's jump over to Jay. He's got to tell us what, by the way, you have two levels to this question, right? Because we all talked about publishing, and let's weave that into our conversation. So here you got multiple titles going on, right? First question is why comics? And now, look, you're knee deep in it if you're publishing that many titles. Why publish them yourself? If you guys want to, we can talk about publishers.
Yeah, brother, I'm listen. Whatever you want to ask, I'm an open boat. Carissa,
first off, why do you do comics? That's
why?
The big
because,
question.
Brother, this is my truth. Like Rick, my father passed away when I was very young. I was 6 years old, but I remember reading books with him. At night. My mother would give me comic books because A, it was keeping me off the street from being an knucklehead, and B, because I was not reading books in school. I was reading comics. You give me a comic book, I was locking it in. I did a book report on the Dark Phoenix Saga graphic novel, and all I did was use their real names rather than their code names, and it went over like gangbusters. I was like, oh my God. I got an A, plus I lied. This was great. My wife only married me just so she could go into Comic-Cons for free. So I've had so many different connections, even with my grandmother.
Good wife.
My grandmother was Afro-Latina, and I don't know if you guys remember Captain America issue 334, where it was the new Captain America, John Walker, and Lamar Hoskins, right? And my grandmother had a big blowout, and she was like, look, one of them looks like you, and one of them looks like me. And it's like so many different people in my life. I got those connections with so many different family members. How am I not in comic books, right? When it comes to publishing, being knee deep, brother, I'm a better carnival barker than I am a writer. right? I'm doing.
You're like Corissa. No.
We got to. And Corissa, bring a team with you if you can, right?
Laurie.
I'll sell your comic day in and day out, dude.
You got 8 titles.
You got to peacock this, right, baby. Really. I mean, and when I do cons, I bring a team with me. Not only my wife, my brother-in-law, my sister, my friends, the other collaborators are there. We're pushing it together. We're waving that flag. And sometimes they got to hit me with that code word, hash browns or something else, so I can shut up and move on to the next thing, because I'm a jibber jabber, baby. I'll let it go. Yeah.
My T-Bone neighbor said the same thing. He's like, you can shorten that. I was like, they bought it. Fine.
Well, and you kind of have a point too, that it isn't always necessarily being the best writer. It's sometimes the ability to convey the idea in a way that's compelling to an audience, right?
Yeah.
Like you talk about, hey, you got Stan Lee, right? Was Stan Lee the best writer of the 1960s? Probably not. But if you look at like the body of work, like everybody knows who the Silver Surfer is. So, the guy he did something right, is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
So, Laurie, how about you? You could do multiple things, right? You got short film. My question to you is, why comics out of all the choices?
My answer is, I do them all.
Yes, she does.
Comics for the meat and potatoes story, because that's, to me, the best way to show the world a visual storytelling, right? Because we can all read a novel with no pictures and you can kind of imagine, but when you can get an artist that can see your world and put it on paper for the people to experience, that's how I want people to see my world, as the way that I see it. So that's the best way for me, is visual storytelling, so people can actually get like the veracity, the terribleness, the danger, the quiet or the very loud. Sometimes we, even that you can convey with comics as well. And then the things that we don't get in the comic, I do fill in with the extra medium. So
let me ask you this question. I asked the other guys and girls this. When you have an idea, what is your step one? Like, do you get a character sketch? Do you write a script? What do you do first?
I build the world.
But how do you do it? Like, do you write it all down? Is it a drawing? What do you do?
I do 3x5 cards. I do the David Finch method, where I do like one scene is a 3x5 card, and when I have about 200 3x5 cards, that's like a full-length movie, and that would be my entire arc. What I like about that is that I can write the beginning and the end, and then I can rearrange things or add things or take them out very easily before I put it onto paper. So it's not a lot of rewriting it when I'm not fully formed ideas. It's like, here's an idea. I can elaborate. Ooh, this is really good. Stick that in between. Now it makes much more sense. So I have my 3x5 cards right here.
Sure. Hey, I'm a fan. To me, world building is a big, and I would say it's true of everybody in this room. We're all big world builders. So. Yeah. Hey, one of the things that Jay mentioned, right? It takes different levels of different skills to be successful in the industry that we've chosen, which is odd at best. Mm-hmm. So the question I would ask you is, one of the skills is the ability to build and work with a creative team. That's definitely the case in my work. Rick, I want to ask you first. What's the secret to finding the teammates that help you to complete these projects? What do you look for in a teammate?
First off, for anybody who's new out there writing their comic for the first time, you're going to find maybe some not so great people right away. Maybe you'll hire somebody and it'll be international artist and they'll not do a good job for you. Or maybe you'll jump on with a publishing house and they'll promise this and that, but they won't perform. And I just say go out and do it anyways. Just go out and put yourself out there, make the connections, because what's going to happen is if the first year or so, first 6 months to a year, you're going to start funneling through and finding the right people for you. I wouldn't have found Laurie had I not known Corissa, and I wouldn't have found Christa had I not been connected with Tim, and then I wouldn't have found Charter Comics had I not been working with William Russell on a cover for my book, and I wouldn't have found William had it not been for my Facebook stories that I saw of his art. I mean, this is how you just have to jump in to the different communities, mostly on Facebook, to be honest. Jump in the community, start interacting, and be real about it too. Say, this is what I need, this is what I can afford, and start fielding people. And don't be afraid to lose $1,000, $2,000, whatever. Right off. because you don't know anything and you need to learn. So it's going to be part of the cost of being in the business. And to be honest,
100%.
Yeah, man, Rick, that's a great statement. I couldn't agree more. And I tell you, when you talk about, say, well, I lose $1,000 or I lose $2,000, hey, we would have easily spent that much in Google AdWords if we were, working at a paper company, right? So you got to keep it all in perspective. And man, once again, hats off to everybody. You actually made the project, so you're already one step ahead of everybody else. So Corissa, what's your take on that too? So we were talking about the teammates. Do you? What's the secret to finding quality teammates?
Luck. Luck is. I found Jessica by luck. I found my artist by pure inpatient luck. And like Rick said, I lost 5,000, and it was the best 5,000 I could have lost, because had I stayed with that artist, not only would I not have liked the art, it probably wouldn't have been as popular. I definitely would not be on halfway through issue 4, not even close. I'm glad I lost the 4. My bank account's not glad I lost the other 5,000, but I'm glad I did, because my artist now is awesome, and he's, I don't know, I'm lucky. I have the best team, and I got lucky finding Laurie through Roz and Twitter. And I joined Twitter just because I had a comic book, and I didn't want to join social media at all, but I was dragged into it tooth and nail. And then Laurie dragged me into videos tooth and nail. Without a doubt. Like, I didn't want to be on videos. No one even knew I was a girl for the first couple months. So that's all Laurie.
Yeah, I didn't either. We'll come back to that one too, because I'm one of those people that, because I had a pseudonym at first too, and it was kind of, in my mind it was kind of charming to not have people know who I was. But then what you find out real quick is that to have backers and stuff, you gotta kiss babies and shake hands as it.
I thought you were gonna say something completely different with that kissing.
Yeah.
It was the right way to go, obviously. And now I have I wouldn't know anybody now. I mean, Laurie got me to meet Pops, and then I met everybody through somebody.
Yeah, we're all connected too in the world of video, which is going to be our next question.
Oh yeah.
Jay, let me ask you this question. So you have 2 teams going full time.
Right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you choose them?
Well, I've gotten ripped off. I've lost money. I've had people move on to other projects in the middle of the project, right? And I've had to cut the arc short and then welcome them back with open arms when that project didn't go through, and not hold any grudges, but find something else because we moved on. I've had it's trial and error. It's trial and error. You can't be afraid, like Rick says, to lose it, because that's a lesson, right? We're not going to school for this. So if you attribute that loss to, this is what I learned, this is what I can take away from it, it's not going to sting as hard. It's still going to sting, just not as hard.
Well, especially if the book still comes out, which the moral of the story has to be, I'm a stickler for, the book still comes out no matter who's screwing up.
You gotta have a bit of that stubbornness to keep you going, right? Like I said in the beginning, it's that I think I can. I met a lot of the team members early on through an older website called Digital Webbing. I don't know if it's still around anymore, but there was the message boards. This was prior to Facebook. This was during the MySpace years. So I reached out through there, but I found a lot of the team that is still here today through the convention circuits, right? People who were looking to get work and were at my level and willing to do things at the price point at that time that I was willing to,
where it finally starts to come together,
budget with, and then we grew together. And those guys and ladies are bringing in other people, so like you guys, right? It's 6 degrees of separation, or it's the learning tree, right? It's the legacy tree that everybody.
Well, and I love to ask these questions because, like I say, there is no wrong answer. We could all potentially pick something up from it. So, Laurie, how about you? You've got some quality art teams. How do you meet and encourage your people that you work with?
Patience. Because I'm in the same boat as everybody else. We actually started Path of the Pale Rider in 2020. and the pandemic hit and I lost my entire team. And I was so excited to get going. I could have easily just jumped on the next person that was available, but might not have been the best fit. So I had to stay quiet and be patient to find the right one, not just jump on the next opportunity. And Marco was the right decision. And I waited. I found him through Facebook. But Marta, I found as a recommendation. So once you get into like where we are now, where we're connected, it's like, hey, I'm looking to bring on a colorist. I really like your colorist. Are they available to do other projects? What's their page rate? Do you recommend them? How do they work with your team? You know, so when we brought on Marta, it was completely different than when I was looking for Marco, because I had recommendations.
And where do you meet
for other
them?
people.
Where do you meet them initially? Is this through Facebook, online?
I met Marco through a group called Connecting Comic Book Writers to Artists.
Okay.
Pretty specific, and that's exactly what we were trying to do. And it's funny because I had put a post out, and you get like all these resumes, all these portfolios to sift through, and I wasn't finding anybody that really fit what I was looking for. So I waited longer, and Marco put a post up in that same group, and I was like, this is what I'm looking for. And it turned out he lives an hour away from me. So nice. We go to cons together. We can, you know, when we pass out signed books, they have both of our signatures, because like once the books show up, we get together, we have lunch, and we sign all the books. So it worked out a lot better because I was patient to find the right fit, the right person. And so it worked out.
You know, on that note about finding the right people and being patient, if you're watching this and you're not patient, like me, can't wait a year or more to get back to your artists. One of the benefits of the comic book industry, and this may be not so great for some of the artists, but there's a whole lot of great artists that are online. And if one of them is not available, or one of them is too expensive, or one of them is already booked up until next 6 months, you can just put your name out there and you can find some great people. There's a lot of artists, and this maybe it's unfortunate, but there's more artists than there is work in the art industry. So if you're a writer, don't feel like you can't jump in. There are people there to help you. There'll be publishers that'll get you, printers that'll get you, the artists will be there for you, the letterers will be there. People will be asking you about flattening and all these different terms in the comic publishing and printing industries. So you can do it. Don't be standoffish or don't let us that we're saying these negative things today. Maybe we'll lose some thousands of bucks, but that's okay. You know, you can still do it. So have a heart there.
You might have noticed I stay with my same guys. I basically have 3 teams, and it's always one of the 3 that I'm doing something with. I don't venture too far outside my established comfort zone. For that reason, I've gotten
patience is a very good answer. I had to go through like 35 artists till I found mine. So yeah.
I also wanted to say there are resources out there for people who are looking to find people, not just like chat groups and you know, like things that you can join in the public space like Facebook, but there's other places like Global Indie Group. That everybody that is a part of that group is a professional, and they have different categories like writers and artists and publishers and podcasters. So let's say that you are both a writer and an artist. You're doing your whole project, but how do you promote it? You need to be on podcasts. There's a whole list of podcasters.
Right. It's like what Jay said. Part of it has to be the carnival barker. I mean, that's the critical element, right? So let's
Lori and I tell each other all the time.
What's that?
I said Lori and I we switch podcasts all the time. I just want to
I'm like, who you want tonight? I haven't heard of that one. Give me their I'll get you this one.
Let's talk about that. Ready? My question is about video, which we know that video is now a critical component of any marketing campaign. It's just a matter of how do we use it? You know, what is the correct answer? And I'm not saying I know what the right answer is. You probably see I'm trying stuff left and right, but I'm going to go around the room and I'm just going to ask what we think. Rick, in what ways could you use video to advance your campaign?
Video is the best way to get people to see your Kickstarter. In the end, you don't have a video that's a pretty good video on Kickstarter. If you just have like a banner up there, you're gonna see some less sales.
Be a little more specific. What do you mean by a pretty good video? What's in your video? What's it like?
So this is what I would do if I were listening to this. Is what I would do. I'd go to Kickstarter. I'd find the ones that have 10,000 to 100,000 people money is supporting the Kickstarter, and I'd watch those videos and I'd say, what is this video doing good? And I'd copy what's doing really good and what's really selling. I wouldn't say that I'm going to give you, Rick Duree's going to give you all the best answers here tonight. I'm going to say, go out to where people are making money and copy what they're doing because they're doing it right. That's an option.
Corissa, how about you? What's your video angle, or do you have one?
My video angle is paying someone to make my video.
Fair enough. That's an angle.
I want that water out.
Yeah. No, my video is pretty much, I have someone that makes my video. She takes my art pages and turns it into like a little animation thing. And
awesome,
and my new one, actually she did a good job because she did all three, like a little what the last three were about. So it's kind of like a recap of it. So it's for the new people that come in at 4. For issue 4, they could see what the last ones were and what they can read about and all that stuff. So, but yeah, videos definitely help.
Gotcha. Jay, how about you? You using
Yeah,
video?
I'm sorry. I thought you meant like this kind of video. When it comes to like the promotional videos for the book.
We do. We mean everything.
Okay. When it comes to the promotional videos for the book, I suck. Tim, I remember you saying you used iMovie. I use iMovie. Just so I can have something out there. But when it comes to this part, I didn't want to do this part, right? It's only because of the pandemic and I couldn't do conventions, I couldn't peacock, that I have to do this part. And the only reason I didn't want to do this part is not because, I'm not a peacock. It's because I didn't want to spin one more plate.
It's one more plate.
It's just like Carissa's doing
34 now
streams this month. I'm cringing because I don't want to big time myself and say my time is valuable. I don't have a lot of time, right?
I have plenty of time.
I still have the day job. I still have a marriage that I want to cultivate and mature. But
I don't have time for that.
I'm a newlywed, right? We just celebrated our
congratulations,
first anniversary
man.
last month.
Okay, congratulations.
Right?
Love is a beautiful thing.
Since high school, so I'm happy, right? So I'm still in that honeymoon period. But so doing 33-hour plus live streams, I know we need to do it, but I'm like, that's work I got to do now that I'm publishing other people, right? That I need a focus. So I got to manage that. That's another plate that I need to spin now, is managing all of that time.
I get it, man.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's about time.
Yeah, but then I look at Laurie and she does, full half-hour production.
I was gonna say, I'm like, wait till you get to me.
Oh my God. I cringe at that, but I'm like, she's going for the gold, man. But it's paying those dividends. So and the other thing is, these live streams, I'm noticing now. This is more of an opinion, nothing that I can base actual fact in. But these are more effective than taking out ads on Facebook.
Oh yeah,
100%.
I got nothing on Facebook ads. I got nothing on Twitter ads. Yeah, I got.
So in the last 2.5 weeks, I spent about $236 on Facebook ads, over 856 clicks to the campaign, 2 sales. 2 sales from the generated links on that. But then when I backtrack, well, even with the specifics that I try to use when generating a Facebook ad, I'm showing up in Facebook Marketplace with the 56 and older flea market crowd. Those are the people that are going to buy my books.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's all about switching
They're clicking,
gears.
but they're not going to buy.
You got to switch gears to find out who's going to buy your books. It's
yeah.
I had some redneck tell me he was going to kill me for showing up on his newsfeed when I paid for Facebook ads. So thanks for that. So I was like the opposite of what I wanted, because he was putting all over all of my ads that I was a scammer and for nobody to pay attention to what I'm posting. So it did the opposite.
Well,
so I'm not about the Facebook ads.
I have a group question for this one next, and everybody just answer yes or no. There's no right answer or wrong answer. This is just for me to see who
I can prove that wrong.
Do I get to answer the video question?
Yes.
Videos are awesome, Laurie.
This is our moment.
I was like, this is my area of expertise. I don't get to talk about it.
Yeah, you can. I'll come back to it.
I'll go quick. Do all the things. That's what I do. I do all the things. I'm on the podcast. I do the commercials. I do the TikToks, the shorts. I kill fruit live because that's hilarious. I dress up as Pikachu and smash watermelons. And then I do short films too because those are awesome. I have like 2 more scenes to shoot that are close-ups, and then I can be done with my short film. So I'm like chomping at the bit for that to come out. So that is all. Move me along.
And, hey, and by the way, your video is doing well over at Holden's 11. It was at like 20-some views in the first 24 hours. So getting to the level where it's getting more views than the average.
That's great.
Actually, mentioned me at that video. I appreciate that.
Yeah, again, my motive is transparent. I don't have any design to be a podcaster or promoter, but it's like Jay said, these things sort of start to happen, and you gotta run with it, right? At the end of the day, I want people to say, "Hey, isn't he the guy with the cryptid book that launches April 4th on Kickstarter?" Yeah, I'm the guy.
Watch your feet as he drops that plug, baby.
I know. I like that.
But I love it. I do
have a group question, though. And when you make a Kickstarter video, they say that you should appear in the video. Supposedly, people respond better to if you're in the video or not. Yes. So my question is we'll go around and see if you did it or not. Rick, were you in your Kickstarter video?
I was in it, but I don't think that's vital. I think it's great. I love being in it, whatever, but I don't think it's vital for the sales.
But you were in it?
Yeah.
Okay. Corissa, were you in it?
Nobody wants to see me.
Jay, I think they probably do. Jay, how about you?
I wasn't some, and I wasn't in others, and I don't see a difference.
And Laurie, how about you?
I'm always in my
in it.
Shenanigans.
It's hit by a car.
Nose or getting mauled by a bear.
I'm always in mine too. But it sounds like we're not convinced that is a thing. So Rick says no. Carissa, you think that doesn't matter, or?
No, I don't think so. I mean, most of the people I got there is because they saw me on a podcast, so they already know who I am or why the hell I'm there. So
Don agrees with me. BS, Carissa. We all want to see you.
You can do you can do update videos, right? If you want to be seen, or you can post YouTube videos in the body of your story.
I said before,
that's an option as well.
I said before, Carissa's great on interviews. She does it well. I don't know why. I'm not sure why she's saying that.
I took little clips of all the different shows I was on with people reacting to me telling them the story. I made a compilation and I put that on my website. And it's great because especially for like the first round when I was telling people about the story and everybody was like appalled and grossed out and just like that visceral reaction. That's the best. That's the best referral.
I don't know as many people as Laurie knows. I know less people than are in this video.
You know everybody I know now.
Not in person.
Chris has thousands of followers. They're like praising her.
Well, hey, let's stick close to the video question for a minute because I wanted to ask this too. When we talk about making not in a podcast form, but like a Kickstarter video that has a little preview from the book, and some of them are kind of like motion comics, like 3D edited.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Do you do that or don't you? First,
Carissa
Rick
does that.
Rick, do you do it?
I don't do that because I don't have the extensive skill, and I don't really want to pay the lots of money to make the video done. Should I do it? I don't think that's absolutely necessary. I think Canva you can use. I think iMovie you can use. I think that's good enough. As long as you have a good video that follows generally the rules of what you're seeing the big companies do with their videos, you'll be okay. You'll be good enough. I don't think there's a right way, and I don't think there's a 100% all-in way, but you have to do at least a minimum. And the minimum is, I think that's what we're saying here.
Okay. Carissa, and you use it, Carissa, right? They're 3D.
Yeah, I have 3D sound, motion, animation.
And what do you pay for one of those? They're by 60-second clips, right?
This one was 2 minutes. And I am adding stuff to it. My song.
Can I ask you, what does it cost to get one of those made?
Oh, I know people, so mine's like $60. But generally, a lot of people like to do my shit for free. Don't ask me why.
Yeah,
people
you're gonna pay. You're
not gonna pay people that are watching this. It's gonna be much more than $60.
Yeah, people send me free stuff. I don't know why. Paul will say it's because I'm cute. I don't. That's not
Whatever, Paul Gomez. You're not here. Stop bringing him up.
He is. He's messaging me saying that. He likes the commentary and screw me up while I'm talking.
I'm gonna get him.
I'm kidding. No, but yeah, with my video has my song that was written for me that I had written for my characters. So my song's in the background. But other than that, yeah, I like to have whatever someone hands me free, I throw in there, and then I have the one that I pay. Like generally, it's $40. This one was 2 minutes, so it was $60. Where I was like, okay,
that's a heck of a
and
deal.
then I have the Anubis animation, which this amazing guy just spent like a month and a half doing. Like he literally would show me updates of him taking apart, and he didn't even want me to give him credit, but I did. But I was like, it is the coolest thing to have this Anubis just walk out on screen, grab his staff, show it up and just roar. And then, but that thing would have cost me, if I wanted to do just that part with Anubis, it probably would have been about $1,000.
Yeah. Gotcha. Jay, how about you? Do you use the animation for your Kickstarter videos, or how do you make them?
It's one more plate to spin. I don't got the time. I tried to figure out After Effects. Nope.
No, but jump back. You and I are both iMovie users, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll do that. But even there, I'm like researching the people that do that is so far down on my to-do list. I don't even.
So you're a Mac user too. You're a Mac user, yes, Jay?
No. I got a Lenovo, and I got a Dell, and I got an iPhone. I got an iPad. I got an iPad Mini. I got I don't know, PlayStation to research the YouTube stuff.
Usually only the Mac people run. Usually only the Mac people run iMovie. I guess more people do that.
Oh no, iMovie's on. I got the iPad Mini just for the iMovie.
I use Wondershare. Wondershare is what I use.
Where's that? Is
I
it
don't know.
Also?
It's something I paid $60 for. I don't know. $60 is a magic number today. I don't know. My husband bought me a Mac, and I spent 10 seconds on it, and I hated it and had to return it. So I hate the Mac. Sorry. I know it's better. Everyone's going to yell at me. It's better. There's no viruses. I don't care. I hated it. So it was probably because I was raised on Windows, and whether Windows sucks or not.
You got to do what's right for you, man. I love to say all the time.
He was so proud of himself for bringing home a Mac. I was like, I can't use this.
Jimi Hendrix never had a guitar lesson in his life. He took the guitar upside down and backwards, and he became Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I can write, because I definitely didn't have any training.
Oh, is that why?
That must be why. I can't. I mean, being dyslexic, I didn't think I could write at all. So the fact that I have 10 novels is still astounding to me. And so
jump over to Laurie. So in the videos, now this is for the video for Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So first of all, how do you make it? So you are in it.
Yes.
She can make you a whole movie if you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you use? iMovie? What do you use?
I use Final Cut Pro.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
That's great. No, don't listen. I'm still using Adobe 7.
I use Final Cut Pro, but again, you have to remember I come from production, so it made sense for me to have. I've had this for a while. It's not like I got it just for this. I've had it,
right?
Because we do short films, and I was editing and color correcting and blah blah blah. But I've gotten a lot more savvy with it, with the transitions and the green screens, and I'm able to layer screens in now. Like I was just talking with Corissa, my short film that's coming, so I have a green screen set up on my iPad, so I have something playing on the TV, and then I have a green screen where I'm playing something different on the iPad. So it's actually an interview that her and I did together on the iPad, and I'm acting in between all of this.
Gotcha.
So it's a fun time. You just wait till you see it. Like Pop Takes a Dive. I think I have like RJ's commercial in there, and like Doc's Coffee Shop, and we just got a bunch. Like if you look at what's the stuff that's going on in the background, there's a lot going on, which is really cool. But then the story itself is horrifying. Good times.
I'll have to check that out. I'm definitely a fan of trying new video stuff, and you're going to see me doing more and more of that. So there's going to be a long form, and then a medium form, and then a short form.
You got to do the short form now. You have to. Between like the reels, the shorts.
There's even a 7-minute interview with artists, and that's one where you see like the artwork comes up behind them while they're talking, and then sometimes it's me presenting the artwork, and that's it's more than a 15-second. It's like a 49-second one on TikTok. It's just like me showing the art, and hopefully you hope that you get a little click through. In my case, it would go through YouTube and then to the campaign. Again, we'll see if any of this works. We'll know in about 40.
I don't get too much interaction from the TikTok directly to my campaign. It's usually people that are already following my campaign or following my TikTok. So I don't get business going back. I just get it to the TikTok. So I'm
definitely picking up some new ones, but again, I don't really know either. It's like all things to just one more plate, right? One more plate.
Right.
Yeah.
I got a question for Jay.
Yeah.
When you're doing Kickstarter or Indiegogo or whatever you use, and you're on your 4th or your 5th issue, do your buyers continue to grow, or is there a part where you start dipping?
Yeah, yes and no, both. Because I've done different genres. So some people will follow me from one genre to the next. Some won't. Some are just like, oh, I know you're doing another one after this, so I'm going to hang back. Some of them are trade waiters. So it all depends. I mean, it's yes and no to all of it.
What year did you start, Jay?
Well, the first Kickstarter I ran was 2011, 2012.
Wow.
I just started role playing then.
Yeah, like I said, I was doing the. I just converted in 2008 from doing the ash cans to doing print on demand and doing conventions, and I was like, oh, wait a second, you're not going to make any money on print on demand, right? And I'm like, I'm trying, and I was going through my first real long-time relationship. I don't want to say a marriage, but we owned property together and stuff like that. And balancing those two things when they were both new to me wasn't really working for either one of them. And then, that one failed and one didn't. I'll let you decide which one. It was.
No comment.
It's all in how you look at it, man. It's all in how you look at it.
Don't touch that one. Don't do it.
Yeah, so 2011 was the first Kickstarter, and I got to reach people that were outside of my local area, right? Or my driving distance conventions. I'm in New York. So the furthest I was driving was to DC, where I used to live with my ex. So that was a 4-hour drive, right? I went at that time maybe as far as Boston. But then I'm hitting Kickstarters. I'm like, okay, people are buying from me in Chicago. People are buying from me in the West Coast. People are buying from me in Florida. So I was packing the trunk and rolling out.
Our the pretty successful.
It's impressive, man. It's impressive, and even the fact of where you have the operation up to the number of titles you're putting out, I think that's inspirational.
Yeah, thanks.
So why don't we do this? We're going to go around the room. First, everybody, thanks for sharing the elements of your creative process. I always love to hear about them, and I love to see if maybe I can learn a little bit. So what we're going to do, we'll go around the room and we'll say a little bit about what you want to promote. Everybody's got something in the air right about now, or what kind of things just happened. Tell us who you are one more time and where we can find you. Starting with Rick.
Rick Duree, Orphan Bloodline. That's my series. Comic number 3, chapter 3 will be coming out on Kickstarter in April. In a few weeks. I had to push it back a little bit, doing some editing on the writing and making sure I get it right. Definitely check us out on social media. You see all of our images there. My team's solid. I love being part of Charter Comics. That's our leader. Great group of people. Very fun. You definitely need to find a group. If you're out there going to start doing comics, you have to find a group to work with because it makes it all worthwhile and fun versus just kind of soloing it. It can be okay, but it's better with people that are
with lonely.
Yeah, it's lonely. There's pluses and minuses.
Yeah.
So that's really it. I think we can all talk about our books, which is great, but the reality is you should just buy them all. And then.
And Rick, where's the best place for us to find you?
I think the best place is Orphan Bloodline on Facebook, orphanbloodline.com. Just look for Orphan Bloodline. You'll see me.
Congratulations, man, on putting your book out.
Hey, thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
Yep, I'm proud of you, buddy. Okay, and Corissa, you'll be up next. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you're known for, what kind of projects you got going on.
I don't know if I'm known at all, but I have
redemption series out. It's I don't know what it is anymore. It's horror,
It's
adventure,
kick-ass. It's
supernatural.
kick-ass is what it is.
Someone called it Romeo and Juliet in Hell. I don't know, whatever. There's a lot going on in there. But yeah, it's issue 4 is in pre-launch, and it launches on Laurie's show April 18th around noon.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's already halfway done because my artist is on crack. I don't know.
I swear he's on cocaine.
He's on something. It's 2 pages a day. He gave me like 3 pages today, and I was like, "That's awesome!" It's our first vampire scene, so I was like, "This is cool."
Nice.
Yeah, and yeah. So you can find. All you have to do is search "Worthy Chaos" on anything, and I show up like a nutcase. So a Kickstarter, Worthy Chaos, I pop up. I'm the only one there. Twitter, Worthy Chaos, Facebook, Worthy Chaos. I'm on other platforms. I'll go there if you visit, but I'm not really on there. I gave up. I mean, Twitter had like 1,000 followers and like 1,000 likes, and I'm like, it doesn't really do anything. You know, it gives you like an ego boost for like 20 minutes, and then you go on to the next thing. But, oh, and this is my pipe cleaner, Anubis. Don't ask me why I had him made, but he looks awesome. He drives me crazy because all I keep doing is playing with it, and I'm probably not supposed to. He might be on the Kickstarter if I tire of him by then. I don't know, but
well, congratulations on your book, Corissa.
So
came out great.
Come watch it. Thank you. Come watch me on Laurie's show because I need support to when it launches.
I will. I'll come by. I'll come by and watch that one.
Carissa and I are going to be on like a ton of shows together, like next week, starting on Sunday. We're on one Sunday and then one on Friday together.
You're gonna see me in the wings too. This is nice. I'm on 12 Days of Cryptids. It's all right around the corner. Jay, how about you? Now I know you got a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Jay, you got a campaign going on right now. Tell us a little bit about who you are, about the campaign, where we can find you.
All right, so I'm Jay Rosario from Unstoppable Comics. Been trying to do this for more than 15 years while keeping hair on the top of my head, semi-successfully. The book that I have currently going on Kickstarter right now is called Limbo, Open Almost All Eternity. And that
it looks
the
great,
basis
by the
of
way.
It is thanks. You got to stick in those long titles so you don't mirror anybody else's book.
I do that.
Right. So it's the idea behind the story is Lucifer has vacated his throne in hell, and he leaves a former priest in charge. The guy really doesn't know what he's doing. All hell's about to break loose, and he's spending a lot of his time in a bar called Limbo, and people are going to start coming for the seat unless he kicks it into gear. So that is the first issue of that going on. But if you're new to Unstoppable Comics, you could pick up almost any other book. All of our trades are still in print. Some of our single issues. But and Laurie, I'm loving you. You're jumping high on my favorites list. She's wearing a shirt from our last book, which was The Dead Princess Vicky Styx. And I don't know. I'm hoping maybe she could cosplay when the
I totally
the
could play.
Comes out.
I totally could. I have one of those dusters and the boots.
You know what I'm saying?
Next
it's
time
gonna
we're
work. You got the hair
I have
already?
Vicky Styx.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Listen, that one's. Excuse me. That issue is scheduled for mid next year because the artist is currently working on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. So he's got to finish his obligations for that before he can move on. I'm like, okay, I want to stay consistent, but this is part of the schedule, right? The production schedule. Do you want to keep that same look, or do you want to move on? So we're gonna hang back a little bit, see what happens there. But yeah, if I could get you to cosplay, I know it's gonna be more than $60 to pay for the video, but
we could do a photo shoot. Now it's totally
someday, dude. We're rock and roll.
That would be cool.
Thank you.
Advertising. Yes.
Well, congratulations, Jay. The lineup
Thanks.
Looks terrific, man.
Thank you. We're trying. We're trying.
Yeah. And I wish you the best of luck, of course, with the campaign. Speaking of campaigns, let's jump over to Laurie. She's got Path of the Pale Rider. It's live right now. Tell us a little bit about it.
Oh, wow. Path of the Pale Rider. The world where everything is, well, undead. No, let's go back. I'm messing up my own elevator pitch. What the hell? So Path of the Pale Rider, the world where death has been broken. Your body can die, but your soul remains in your body, and you get to enjoy your own decay phase. So people, animals, insects, nothing can die correctly anymore. So we get famine, we have overpopulation, we have ethical issues with government overstep, riots, all that good stuff. Conspiracy theories. We're like a Western sci-fi apocalypse horror mishmash that works perfectly. It's amazing. We're on issue number 3. Come along for the ride, because issue 1 and 2 we're in the apocalypse, and issue 1 we have a time jump. We have a non-linear time jump to the past where we get to experience day 1 of the day that Death went missing. We do all the shenanigans. We have riddles. We have fan interactive short films. We're working on 3 right now.
The day that Death went missing. Whoever wrote that, that's a good line.
It looks pretty cool, man. She's got a really cool campaign over there, and it's very interactive for fans. So please jump over there and check it out. In closing, I just want to say, man, everybody, I wish you the best of luck with your campaigns. I have one right around the corner here, so I'm going to be jumping in the water. We're all going to hear a lot more about cryptids.
Tim,
So that's
come on
April
my
4th.
show.
Yeah, by the way, I also want to do cross promotion with whatever we decide to do. And I'm pretty sure, Laurie, that I'm going to go to, because now we've got the whole madness thing, right? Which just keeps getting larger and larger, which it'll probably end up being 2 live shows. It'll be Thursday night and Friday night. And then the recorded show will go to twice a month. Because that one I've got production and it's written, you know what I mean? So I'm starting to quickly get behind.
I mean, that's with the spinning plates, man.
It's all part of the thing. But, I'm going to be focusing all my efforts on the upcoming visual sci-fi adventure, Call of the Cryptid. I hope you guys will check it out.
Yeah.
So other than that, man, we'll look forward to seeing some of you guys next week.
Yes.
I'm with that.
Thanks.
Night,
I already crashed this show. I think you guys have seen enough of me. I don't know.
Never.
There's more coming. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
See ya.